So Doc Rivers did do his introductory press conference. I took some quotes from Sixers Adams article, some topics from Sixers Adams article, and some transcriptions from Mr. Kyle Neubeck, who you just mentioned. I feel like the first quote I want to get to is the last one I have listed here. And someone asked him, I don't know what the question was, about him and Elton. The process of the front office and who's making decisions and so on and so forth. Because I think the question had something to do with the collaborative effect didn't work, yada, yada, yada. His response, Doc Rivers' response, and I'm going to bring this back to ownership. He goes, we'll work together. That's one of the things that was so exciting about this job, to have that opportunity with Elton. I think we have a chance to build something great here, not just on the court. I actually think it starts off the court, and we have to get that part right. So that's exciting. I think Elton and I will form an amazing partnership together, and we'll grow from there. Now, a coach saying all of this is fine, but I do think that Elton asked for personnel control, and they said no. And he was like, well, I had to try. But then they said something.
Doc asked for personnel control.
Yeah, what did I say?
Elton,
yeah. Doc asked for personnel control, and they said no. But then I bet they said, by the end of watching the finals game, yeah, like, we're not going to give you the title, but it's going to be you and Elton, basically. Like, their ambiguous leadership structure, I believe. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think it's very likely that their ambiguous leadership structure just got a coach without an official personnel title who also is part of the personnel selection.
Why not?
So, because I've seen a lot of coaches say, I respect Elton. The response is, I'm excited to work with Elton. I respect Elton. I think they're going to do the right things. Obviously, I'll give my input, but I'm the coach. Elton's the GM. Yada, yada, yada. But that is not what he said.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you're going to sign a guy who's won a championship, who's had as much success, like, there's no way. This is what you get. Like, I think they got the win of not, like, listing him as, director of player personnel. And so he will have, like most, I would say, of the upper crust coaches in the league, he will have a good, healthy amount of say in who he wants and who he gets and stuff.
Who do we think who would you say the 4 or 5 like elite coaches are in the NBA? Popovich,
Pop, Kerr, probably.
Mm-hmm.
There's the like off the beaten path guys like Terry Stotts and Carlisle that people think don't get enough credit.
Carlisle, maybe.
Spoelstra, I think you have to add at this point.
Mm-hmm. Stevens.
No.
Do you think that Doc Rivers? Do you think that those guys have the same thing that Doc Rivers you think has?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my read on it. I think especially Elton. Doc was a coach when Elton was a player, and so Doc probably feels like a bit of a mentor to Elton, at least a little. Maybe I don't know what their
Doc was a player when Elton was a player. What was he? Wait,
No.
Actually,
Elton came out in '99, I think.
Okay, and Doc played till like '95 or '96 or something like that.
And so I think not knowing their history together, I would guess it's like, hey, here's a guy who was a player and is now in the front office, like, and he's young and it's his first thing, and now I'm going to come in there and I have some wisdom to share with him, and Doc's a guy that's confident in himself, so I think it'll be like, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it and we'll hash it out and we'll disagree about stuff, but ultimately, like, we're both gunning for the same thing, and so
okay.
I don't know that. I think Doc probably feels like if I really want something, I can get my way.
Yes,
would be my guess.
That is and I think that is different than those other guys you mentioned.
I don't agree.
Not Popovich, but I don't think Rick Carlisle or Eric Spoelstra or.
I disagree. Actually, I think for the most part, coaches that get into that top tier level feel like they're the ones seeing the basketball, and they can throw their weight around a little bit, especially if they've had success like Spoelstra, like Carlisle, like Kerr have.
I respectfully disagree on that one. I think they all have strong enough people above them that have a hammer. And I think the difference is not that Doc has more. I believe that the difference is that the Sixers front office, in this case Elton, has less, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah, I hear that.
Okay. So the other things he said, I believe that these two are less important, but whatever. He talked about using Tobias Harris in high pick and roll because of Tobias Harris's half of good season with Doc doing that. He said he believes Horford and Embiid can play together. I actually believe they can play together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not. They just need more guys that can dribble and shoot quick. Like, look at brief interlude to talk about the Lakers, because I worry that the Sixers are looking at this Lakers success and going like,
"Oh, we can play with three big guys."
Yeah,
at once.
we can do this. Like, we can do this. Look how close we actually were, and what everyone says that we suck. And actually, we're good. We're actual, basically, twin champions, long lost twin. We're like the Lakers' long lost twins.
Until you do the math and you realize that one of the Lakers guys is LeBron.
Yeah, one of the Lakers guys is LeBron. That helps. But I would also say, and look at the Lakers and how easily they sort of just assembled their roster with guys who are willing to do what it takes, and how poorly you guys did that. How utterly you failed to do almost the easiest thing, which is get guys who will space the floor and shoot and penetrate a little bit. And while they're looking at the other locker room and seeing, well, that's Jimmy Butler. I remember him. I guess he's better than we thought. But it just seems like, I mean, we've been saying this for years now, for most of my life at this point, that the Sixers were so well set up for success.
Literally a quarter of your life.
It's most of it. I don't even know how old I am anymore. I don't know how long we've been doing this podcast. But they're so set up for success, and all we have to do is just this is just a little icing on the cake. And instead of icing on the cake, they put orange juice. Just dumped orange juice all over the cake.
And they're orange juice is good.
No,
right?
that's not. They don't go together. Those are different.
Yeah.
It should be easier than they've made it, and just remarkably over and over again they haven't.
Some other quotes from Doc Rivers. I spent a lot of time with Red Auerbach, who used to tell me and drill it in my head, if they can't do it, don't do it. Stay away from it. Do something else. Create an action. If you're not a great shooting team, create more movement. Increase your speed. Play from different spots. So sort of a reaction to the funky makeup of the team. And obviously you have to see Ben Simmons in there too, him saying that. So says the right thing, obviously play to the team's strengths. I don't know how you do that with this particular, what we thought it was the bully ball team, but that's not what they are. So I don't know how you play to this team's strengths. How would you say that you even do that? With this particular roster?
Put the ball, just sort of place the ball high up on the backboard and make the other sort of John Morant try to jump for it over and over again, sort of bat at it like a cat.
Well, John Morant would get it before Horford would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not if Horford stood on Embiid's shoulders.
Good point. And then finally, accountability. You have to hold your star players accountable, because the more accountable they will be with you and towards you, then the more accountable you can hold the rest of the team. And I think that's one of the key things when you're coaching stars. This misnomer that stars don't want to be coached is not true. I think stars absolutely want to be coached. They want to be coached. They want to get better. They want to learn as well. They've done a lot of winning, but we want to be the winner. Winning is great, but being the winner is the best. That's what we're going to try to do. Now, there's a little irony in that the report after Doc Rivers left is that the 2 stars were not being held accountable, and the other players were. So, but Kawhi Leonard certainly has a different place in the league than Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid do. So, I don't know. I hope.
I don't know. I'm having a tough time bringing myself to give a shit. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like, here, the new coach. We've had Brett for 7 years. There's a framed photo of me, you, and Brett that Brett signed on my desk, which is very nice. There's also a photo of John Gonzalez, Colleen Wolfe, and their dogs with Santa on my desk. What does that mean? I don't know. But
I don't have one of those.
Any of them being the coach of the Sixers would not change the fact that the Sixers organization is a shit show. And
it's a clusterfuck.
And so I think if you sort of like trim the fat of the front office, or at least distill it down, even if it was like just Elton. Even if it's like Elton is deciding things, he gets information funneled to him. Like, obviously, it's not he's the only one in the front office. Everyone else should be fired. It should be Elton in like a big house all by himself, sort of running around knocking things over, like some sort of like big kid, Home Alone 7, Elton Brand, Home Alone in the front office. But if he's the ultimate, like, hey, we trust Elton to make
cheese pizzas.
Yeah, anything. All making his tummy hurt because he's eating too many cookies. If he's the one making the decisions, we trust Elton. We want him to make the team in his image, whatever. Then I think that it is doable. I think it is not hard to get there, to build a cohesive team structure. But I just don't trust the organization to see anything through, because they get so easily duped into doing things that they shouldn't, and are easily distracted, like the cat that I referenced earlier. I don't know, but it ultimately it'll come down to a couple apt acquisitions, trading Josh Richardson for a guy who can dribble and shoot a little quicker, even if they're worse on defense, and then Ben and Embiid really buying in. It's got to be that.
The earlier, a couple days ago, Angelo asked me at work what I thought of the Rivers hire, and I was like, I don't know, it's fine. And he was like, you don't like it? I was like, it's not that I don't like it, it's that it's so not high on my priority list. I don't even know how to express it to you that it's fine. It's not a bad hire. It's a fine hire. The problem is who hired him.
That's not a radio answer, Spike.
No, not at all. But I told him was, and this was off air. But I did say, and you compared it to Girardi, the notion that he will be like this one-man accountability fest is just not, or one-man winner fest is not proven out by history. What part of the reason that coaches who are able to hold their players quote unquote accountable this respect is that there's a backing of the front office. It starts top down. It's not like Eric Spoelstra just demands respect. It's the fact that Pat Riley demands respect and has Eric Spoelstra's back in things. It's an organizational thing, and it can't just be the coach saying, "Don't do this," So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Elton and Doc are enough of a Elton has proved himself in this league. Doc has proved himself in this league as a player and a coach, and so. If that's enough to be hey, we know that things have not gone as well as we want them to, and we're saying that's on all of us. If there's that's what I would do if I was running this organization, and I'm sure that there's been various kinds of things at all times, but I would try to sit down with the players and coaches and front office staff and be hey, we gotta make this fucking work. We or at least maybe not all the players. Matisse doesn't need to be there, but Ben and Joe and Tobias and Al, whatever. Hey, we need to make this work. We want this is the team, and we're gonna fill it out, and we're gonna make guys, get some guys who can do a couple more things. But we need everybody to buy in. This is what we all want. It will be better for all of us if we fucking do this together. And I'm the guy that can always think a wine trip to Napa and a really healthy boardroom meeting could solve everybody's personality disputes. But if they can like get on the same page and just be like, hey, we all want the fucking same thing, so let's work our asses off and get there. And I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know either.
I just want it to work so bad because we've spent so much time giving a fuck about this team, and they have not done a good job of earning that of us, and it makes me feel stupid. End of thought.
No. I was starting to talk. I understand what you're feeling. Like a lot of times, caring about them makes me feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because it's just like going back to in a relationship where they've cheated on you 7 times, and they're wearing a T-shirt with the person that they're cheating with you on. Like
at least put on a different T-shirt.
Yeah,
that's all you have to do. I'll be happy if you put on a different T-shirt.